Hello, my good people. I promised you last week that I was going to discuss a sensitive issue, but we're going to discuss it in a very mature that will help a lot of people. You know, I always come in with this type of discussion. A lot of people, they are either avoiding it or actually under the dark get suffering from it. So what the title of that program is called Weak Erection and Ejaculation. But weak erection is the only thing we're going to discuss today. And then the ejaculation will come later. So what is erection in its simple form? Erection is the adequate flow into the erectile tissue of the male organ, female organs. Ironically, a lot of people always think that when you talk about erectile dysfunction, you are only talking about a male. No. Male most of the time is because they're always the one that complains about it. But I tell you to note it, the erectile tissues in the man is equivalent in the woman, and they all do different function but for the same purpose. So prepared by his creator, by God Almighty, with several sources of blood flow from various vessels that supply the area of the organs. And it's only when this adequate flow is not being achieved that this complaint from both male and female. Well, a female will not complain to you erectile dysfunction, but if you know male who or low libido or no interest at all, then you know that they have the same problem with a male counterpart. And I'm just telling you now, those areas, just like other organs, kidney, liver, in such a way that blood takes to them different things, ranging from oxygen that it uses to all the nutrients that makes the cells to live. So where there's or an inadequacy of this blood flow or blockage on the flow path, the tissues which gets its nutrients through them are not able to flow or not at all. This is where it starts from. When you hear complain about it, it is either there is a blood flow, cut off or blood blockage, or there is something that is even preventing the blood from getting there. So this is the issue about erectile dysfunction, and it can happen at any level of this flow of the blood. It can be at the origin of flow of this, as we're talking about the heart somewhere near, or at the pipeline of the blood flow, little flow into the pipelines themselves, because each of these blood vessels that you are out, they also have little vessels that give them to the nutrient, the oxygen, for them to be the pipe that takes the bigger blood flow into the big organs that we are all using. So it can be that supply them also, and these nerves, when they can trigger no activity. So when they don't trigger activity, they do not go, and the tissue themselves can suffer the effect of the reduced blood flow. It can also be around the joint where the blood passes to. So if them around the joint or the bony structure that is compressing on this blood flow, so happen. If the tissue itself, due to damages to them, an accident that directly affects their, and that can even make no issue about flowing into the place, talk less of passing the nutrient to it. Blockages along the same line can also cause the same, but the most prominent one of this problem is the brains of individuals. Yes, you heard that right. Majority of the people will want to go to the hospital about either reduction in erection or lack of it at all, or that has to do with able to function properly. It's always because of brain, the nervous system. It's not that it's, but you soon know. Look at this simplistic explanation how it can be caused. We can deduce some of this disease or condition that can reduce the functions of the erectile tissue. Topmost, as I say, of the problem erection is the related attitude. We discuss a lot about primary food And one of the greatest areas of primary food in our life is relationship. And the attitude that we relationship is one of the that can affect this our erectile tissue, because the nerves that supply them takes its roots right. It takes its command right from our brain. So the attitude into it, both or the man, being wife or spouses, but they all affect the that we're talking about, whether it fails or what or action to the as it's supposed to be. So most men with erectile dysfunction have issues with their partners. It's either behavior of their spouses to them when it turns to the matter of, fulfilling the obligations between themselves. When a wife insults or compare a man's prowess to his partner, that is the first thing that can actually make the brain of the partner to start relieving the negative signal. And this can actually affect him. The same thing goes for the wife. If a man does not know how to, make his attitude, make his woman to be able to behave right, it can also cause the same thing. That's why I say the most prominent causes of this thing, the most prominent one among the causes of this is the brain. And when we are specific, I say it's the attitude in our relationship. So this is the way that you say it. So if somebody if either the man or the woman is pairing his partner with another person's partner, it's really, really very depressive signal comes from the brain. So if you even now have it in your mind, it is even worse. Talk less of saying it directly to that person. And then what happened is that that derogatory attitude with which it was said to him or her caused the problem. If we know that, and we know that without the brain giving the signal, then there won't be blood flow into the areas that will blood flow to give the nutrients that these areas need for the effective, erection that is needed, then there will be problem. This is the reason why I said the most important aspect of this problem that brings about this problem is our in relationship. Other things that can affect the signal to all this organ is when you have dissatisfaction with you have stress from other relations, immediate one, constant, your distant, your friends, your brothers, and or even your co-workers. The fact that the stress of the remark they make on you can even take you away from there. But all these things can all lead to the inadequacy of into the area. Anything that makes a man feel like an incomplete person affects the erectile state of the man. So can it affect the woman too? Drugs of any kind will not help such a person, no matter how effective it is in making the erectile tissue to function. If he has this behind his mind or her mind, no one is going to help such a person. The only thing that can help that person is good and effective communication, understanding, and being able to get this thing from where the root is away from such a person's mind. So food needed by both male and female can actually reduce the total number of people having the problem. Ineffective positive communication can affect them both, just as I said, because if you are an arrogant man and you down on your woman or your wife, you can be sure that she will become frigid, having to even have the feeling, and all the erectile tissues in her will go to sleep. There won't be supply of adequate nutrients and other things into the rest of the organ. Lack of interest in one another can also affect. Women are controlled by hormones, and when you do affect the flowing of their hormone from the center, that is the brain, into organs in their body, you have them react negatively. Most of us, we put all the blames on family matters on women, but we have forgotten to look at ourselves and where we're getting it wrong. This is not just about men, also about women. Well, it's the women's side than the men's side. What I mean by that is that even for a woman, a man may not easily as the word from the woman to the man. The word from the woman to the man can totally shut down the man's system within seconds, irrespective of whatever the man was before that time.